Welcome back to In the World with my smartphone. Anime Review episode number 10. 10, 10, 10. Not surprising, just want to reach episode 10. Yeah, not a surprise here with that one. Here we're discussing the 90th episode of the series, Frame Gears, and I believe it's the Hangar and Frame Gears. I thought this episode would start with that being a little what was left about book 5. Nope. It doesn't. Not at all. It doesn't pick up the book left off. Nope. As a matter of fact, there was actually a segment that the show skipped. Toya going on a date with the girls. Yep. And that was the interlude of book 5. Now, they started out there with book 6. Now, this episode, from what I can tell by reading this, and I did read a good chunk of this thing, I read a lot more than I thought I should. So this episode covers the entirety of chapter 1. And I think it gets to like partway into chapter number 2. Let's see. They get roughly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Basically about 18 pages into chapter 2. But there's okay, they do have the opening page, but there's a small chunk of this basically that is mostly skipped. It's mostly side stuff. Now, the episode started quite interestingly where Toya is waking up in his very nice looking queen bed, and Yamina is his bed. Now, you're probably all thinking, did these two have sex at the previous night? No. Nope. That did not happen here. She just hopped into his bed. And he points out, though, yeah, we're not actually married yet. There's a bit of something that they do. There's a minor thing with baseball they skip here, which I'm kind of surprised they skipped. That would have been kind of interesting of a side thing to see here, but no baseball. Yeah, Toya introduced baseball to the world, which in the book it became humongously popular to spark an actual baseball league, where various countries have the center teams to basically take on each other in baseball games. Yes, I'm like, that is interesting. And by the way, that's not the only sport Toya introduces. I think he introduces sumo wrestling too, which is interesting given the fact he's from Japan. And those are two of the most popular sports they have there, along with soccer. Yep. So, then of course, like, okay, like, my husband and wife, he's like, not yet. And then you're like, oh yeah, let's make breakfast. And then we cut the next bit out about a date they have. And we come straight to where they're outside. Presumably off screen, they must have had breakfast. He's like relaxing outside with Kohaku. And then the Flame Emperor comes back. Kokia finds out, oh yeah, we have some ruins basically north there. Informs the girls about it. And they all 5 of them, along with Toya, and they even, like, basically the 5 girls, actually all 6 girls, Lean goes 2, along with Paula. Yes, Paula, the sentient teddy bear. This has to go along there. It's so hilarious, the fact that the teddy bear thinks they can fight. And the girls basically waste all the monsters. First is a rhino, and I think it's like a monkey, a snake, which, by the way, in case you're curious, though, is this basically a cut montage? Like, is this cut, like, dramatic, basically, of Billy Monsters? Here's a shocker for you. No, it is not. This I thought was quite surprising. How they presented the anime is accurate to the book. I was kind of surprised to see that. So after the monsters, Toya, thanks to Paula, they discover what we're looking for, a giant pyramid. A silver pyramid that Toya can walk through. He's like, I really hope this is the Hangar. Of course, they all hope what like Lean was hoping for in the library. I think that Yai was hoping for the tower. I think one of them was hoping for the ramp and one of the other ones. He was really hoping for the Hangar. And he activates the circle. And then he comes across this silver building. And then he meets a brand new character. Who is this character, may I ask? Free Monica, which he calls Monica, after he kind of vests her basically of knocking her over and seeing her panties, which, by the way, yes, he does this in the manga. And then, of course, like, to register him, like, she accepts his master. And then after he tries to pick her up, she proceeds to kiss him. Like, registration complete. And thinking, damn, Toya kisses all the girls. And then it's like, and he just asks the obvious question, does this place have frame gear? He's like, sure. Takes him inside, and shows the frame gear, like, cool. Needs a fuel source. Like, gasoline? And she's like, what's gasoline? Which, yes, that is accurate to the book, because Monica had no idea what the heck gasoline was. So, they recommend basically ether liquid. Basically a spell stone. This bit here, there's actually, in case you're curious though, what's something cut about them mining the stuff? Not really. They go and find this stuff, and then of course they take it to the alchemy lab. Which goes, they make the fuel, and of course, gotta turn it on, but gotta clean up first. So, but before we get a chance to sit in the thing, which is so nice to see this thing in action. Which, if you're curious though, the reveal of basically Toya's reaction, like, is it basically like the same as is in the book? There. And yes, Monica looks like this, carries that big wrench with her, and she smashes the circuit in. And of course, they try out basically a simulator, which, by the way, the whole simulator, them trying the simulator, that actually ended chapter 1 of the book. And then meanwhile, though, they basically have it where they have the tryout of the simulators with all the girls, and then he's like just relaxing for a bit, and then Sue tackles him. Yes. Is there a little bit cut here? Yes, some minor bit that basically involves Olga. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they kept this for without this kind of way. I guess they want to really watch this. Basically, Sue shows up and is like, Toya, I want you to be my fiance. And she's like begging him. And of course it's explained. Now when I saw this and I read into the preview, I'm like, oh boy, we're going to this stuff. Yes. Where here's the thing. This is accurate to the book. Okay, so you have a guy in his 30s who is a suspected pedophile, wants to marry Sue, who is 11 years old. And of course, he agrees to engage to her. Of course, talks to the girls about it. They have no problem with it. Talks to them about breaking up the engagement. And, like, he has no problem with it. He perfectly accepts Toya as a future son-in-law anyways. He has no problem with it at all. Presumably the fact he not only trusts him, but because also he knows the fact that his daughter, just like his niece, is in love with Toya. So, and by the way, the girl's like, why not? It's about time. They suspected all along Sue had a thing for Toya. Yeah, they have no problem with it at all. And then, of course, basically they meet with the emissary, which, by the way, this does happen in the book, which the scene itself is exactly the way it's presented in the book. Like, of course, they mentioned about the whole thing about the mother. Here's the thing. They mentioned that the reason why, despite the fact he's not really king yet, being 30, is because of his stuff with the women, and the reason why it covers up because of his corrupt uncle, the prime minister. Which book they say is his cousin, which I don't mind that change. It's perfectly fine. Excuse me. The only reason why that the king doesn't become illegitimate is because of the prime minister's power and influence. But he does have a second son, born from a concubine, which, yes, this is accurate to the book. And he's a much more nicer person. His mother basically kept away from him. And then they meet the emissary, and after basically just introducing himself, in fact, they turn in the proposal. After the Duke introduces Toya to him, the emissary reveals he's the second prince that they mentioned. And that's how the episode ends. As watching the episode and rereading the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, they actually have an accurate episode. I'm like, wow, in terms of adaptation, this is by far the best I've seen in the last few episodes. They're not skipping too much stuff here. I'm like, wow. And after the fact they skipped over some stuff from book 5, here it's like, oh my gosh, and we're only in episode 7 of the season. We're a little over halfway through. And so far, they finished up adapting book 3 at the start of the season. they went to book 4 a pretty good pace. So, for what I can tell, book 4 was happened at a very simple pace. I think the episodes they had were fine. 5, I felt as though they should have had one more episode of this one. Yeah, I think 5 was probably the worst so far, this one. And now we're on book 6. Now, if you're curious though, how many chapters are in book 6? Well, here's the thing. The chapters they adapted. Full Gear was the whole thing. Two Princes, the actress partially adapted. I think the rest of it will be adapted next week. And then, probably 2 weeks from now, they're going to adapt Chapter 3. Which, Chapter 3 is a very important chapter because we introduced the last two fiancés. So, yeah, we're going to see this whole book be adapted. And there's a strong possibility we might get to start at book 7. Maybe. But who knows. But yeah. Absolute great episode. I'd say probably the best episode I've seen for the last few. Yep. And in case you're curious though, the title of next week's episode is called Two Princes and the Small Fiancé. Which sounds like they're going to finish up adapting the second half of Chapter 2. And they might get to, let's say... Okay, this is interesting though. I'm looking at the preview for the one for 2 weeks from now. It seems as though they are going to adapt that particular interlude. Let's see. I'd say, yeah, they're going to adapt that wedding, which probably was skipped over for this episode. Yes, they're probably going to just go straight to this one next week. Yes, I do think so. So they're probably going to go through that. This is 2 weeks now. I'm looking at basically the preview. Ooh, so it looks like though by I'd say 2 weeks now we're probably gonna start adapting that third chapter. Maybe, but based on what I read here, it looks like they're gonna finish up maybe for, probably for like a couple weeks now, maybe. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to these ones because it seems as though we're gonna get some more interesting stuff happening here. So yeah, that's it. Particular view. Next up is gonna be Overlord, and then I'm going to go straight to do Demon Slayer. Okay, next video. Bye.